Huh? All right, so tonight, are you gonna pay attention or are you gonna get caught in the line? I think this is a joke. But just because I kept telling you guys it was so freaking awesome. So now I know that you're prepared for tomorrow night, because if I didn't tell you it's tonight, you guys wouldn't have done shit during your vacation, and then you'd try to cram tonight. Because I know you would. I know that by the number of packets that have been turned in, which is like 3. Kind of terrifying me. Anyway. So tonight, we're gonna go over what to do when you have more patients than resources. Because all the rules change. You don't have to worry about abandonment, C-spine precautions, all that stuff. Everything changes. So triage has been around forever. And it's not forever, but since the Korean War, over 70 years it's been around. But it wasn't until 1984 they came and started triage. Because one of the problems is when you do triage and you have mass casualty incidents, which is abbreviated MCI, you have lots of other agencies have to come in mutual aid to help you. And the problem was that most agencies all had their own triage system. So you end up with a dozen agencies trying to work together to all have their own triage system. And it was creating disasters within the disaster. So in 1984, Huntington Beach Fire and Hoag Hospital came up with START triage, which is so simple, any firefighter or EMT can do it, even the most simplest. And everybody talks the same language and everyone uses the same criteria to triage patients. Makes sense? Yeah. All right, so we're going to learn about this. And by the end of the night, you will be experts. We're going to start with a video. This is when a school bus driver has a seizure while driving. And none of the kids take action except for that kid, but he doesn't get there in time. Watch the child in the back of the bus. They had to take an action earlier, they wouldn't have had this problem. Any questions? Already watched that. And then there's just nothing you can help with. This is a pretty easy triage. So what does START stand for? This will be on your tests. Simple, triage, rapid treatment. Simple, triage, and rapid treatment. But wait, you can call now. It will be simple triage, rapid treatment. Any questions? Are you there last Thursday morning? At the MCI? Oh, okay. Oh, so you got to see at least part of it coming in. Hey, thank you for joining us. So again, this was developed by Hoag Hospital, Newport Beach Fire. Any questions? Because they saw the need after having disasters within disasters because of communications and different operating procedures. And that's pretty much what I already told you. Any questions? No questions. The quietest class in UT class history. Well, it's kind of like after the lights went down and the show started, like people just kind of like filtered in. So the triage portion is what we're facing with. The triage portion is what we're focusing on tonight. is teaching you how to triage. Questions so far? So the concept of triage is very simple. Trying to quickly identify who is going to die the quickest and get them out first and get them to a trauma center where they can be treated and have the best chance of survival. The objective of a mass casualty incident is to save the most people possible. So the only way to do that is to triage. There's no possible way you can treat that many patients with limited resources. Any questions? Don't forget about the golden hour. They still base this on the golden hour. You can get them into surgery within 1 hour of the time the incident happened. You have a 90% chance of saving them. Any questions? All right, here's an example. This is from 1984. I actually watched this on a real projector in my real as an REL, not like real life. With actual film and light and everything. And now I've digitalized it.
Okay, help there. Need you to back away from the glass as much as you can.
The original start training video.
I want everybody, stand up and walk. Everybody stand up and walk out story here. Walk out story. Over to the curb.
That's me.
How are you doing? Okay. I need you guys to take a little break right now, okay? I I'm coming. Okay, I'm gonna need more of your help. I would suggest you be careful. I need to just to make sure that there's been competition, okay? Leave it on the phone now. Maintain it forward. Great. Yeah, okay, she's feeling pretty bad. I need you to hold pressure on that leg over there. Just put as much pressure as you can. I need to stop the bleeding. Know your name? What happened? Know your name? Know what happened? What's your name? Yeah, you know what happened then? Okay. If you stay right here, we got additional help coming, okay?
This firefighter has just triaged 15 injured people in less than 3 minutes. None of these were categorized as minor injuries because they were able to walk away without help. It took less than 30 seconds each to assess, categorize, and tag the other 6.
Believe me, I look for more modern Star Trek videos, they suck. All right, so you're probably gonna feel overwhelmed to get to your first MCI after the first unit on scene. You're gonna have more patients than you can possibly deal with. So what you gotta remember is you can't treat all those patients, and you're not going to treat any of them right away. What you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure the scene is safe. And then you're gonna manage the scene, you're gonna triage everyone and then tag them with triage tags. So everybody knows what's going on and what level and what category each patient is. Any questions? Now remember, it's not, even when somebody's badly injured, you're gonna triage tag them, you're gonna move on to the next patient. You're not abandoning them or neglecting that patient. You have to triage to make sure you save the most number of patients. You also do not do CPR any point or any time during the MCI. Those people die. Any questions?
We'll triage everybody and then
Go back and start making treatment areas. So this is real simple. So I'm gonna give you guys the quick notes right now. So you arrive at a bus wreck. We'll just say a bus wreck. You make sure the scene's safe. The bus is gonna slide down a hill or blow up and kill you and all the patients inside of it. So to ensure it's safe, what you do is first thing you say, anyone that can get up and walk and choose a designated safe location. Every one of those people that gets up and walks over there, you tag them green, which is minor. If they can walk, they are automatically a minor green category. You have them walk over to that safe location, that's gonna be your green treatment area. You may want to keep 1 or 2 of them that look like they're capable of following basic commands to help you to open airways and to hold compression and stop bleeding. You may, depending on the resources you have. Then you're gonna do a 3-step triage process. First thing you're gonna check is respirations. If the respiratory rate is over 30, you tag them red and you move on to the next patient. That's very easy to do. If they're breathing more than a breath every 2 seconds, their respiratory rate is over 30. Tag them red, you move on. If they're breathing under 30, that's good. Then you check for a radial pulse or a capillary refill under 2 seconds. If the capillary refill is over 2 seconds or you can't get a radial pulse, you tag them red and you move on to the next patient. If they have a radial pulse and the capillary refill is under 2 seconds, that's great. You go to the last step, which is mentation. You see if they can follow simple commands. You raise your hand, you squeeze my hand, any simple command. If they can follow simple commands, you tag them yellow and you move on to the next patient. If they can't follow simple commands, you tag them red. And then you move on to the next patient regardless. If they don't have a pulse or they're not breathing, you open the airway. If they start taking breaths, you tag them red. If they don't start breathing, you tag them black, which is deceased, and you move on to the next patient. Any questions? And then you count how many of each category you have, and you bring that back to whoever the medical unit leader is that assigned you to triage. Any questions? You're not abandoning or neglecting those patients. You have to triage first. Remember, you already have a green treatment area, then you'll designate a red treatment area. You'll get the red stuff there first. Then you gotta get them packaged, then you gotta get destinations. You don't take everyone to the same hospital. Because every hospital, even the biggest trauma centers, only have 1 or 2 surgery suites available. So you gotta evenly distribute them. I'll teach you how to do that also. Any questions so far? So immediate red. This is someone that's got respiratory over 30 or no radial pulse or can't follow simple commands. As this guy will tell you, in this video, One real simple thing is they're breathing and they're completely unresponsive, you can just tag them red, you already know. They're not gonna follow simple commands.
As a new firefighter, I found the START system being easy and simple to follow tool when doing patient assessment. Once on scene, we can go ahead and have all minor patients move to a safe area, then use RPM to assess the remaining patients. A real good hint that was given to me by one of our more experienced firefighters is to go ahead and tag all breathing unconscious patients immediately.
Any questions? That's it. Yeah. Shit's simple, huh? Excuse me.
What is RPM again? Respiration.
Respirations, pulse, mentation. So remember, delayed doesn't mean they're not badly injured. It just means they're probably not gonna die in an hour. Coincidentally, the category red is the same as physiology for trauma triage criteria. That's not a coincidence.
Why do you check a radial pulse? Like even if you.
Because
can
the
tell
check a
they're
radial
unconscious.
pulse, technically, it's a rule of thumb. They have a systolic blood pressure of 80. If your systolic blood pressure is below 80, you don't have a radial pulse. The blood can't get the pressure to go out that far. Same with capillary refill. If capillary refill is over 2 seconds, the systolic pressure is probably below 80. So they're in decompensated shock, which is why they're a category. Any questions? That was an excellent question, but she threw me a curveball that I hate. Any questions? So again, your minors, just because they can walk doesn't mean they're not badly injured. It's just they're going to be the lowest priority. They can still be very badly injured. Also be prepared when you do a second round of triage. People that were green might become yellows or reds after they walk around for a while. Any questions? No, it is not okay if you're at an MCI and you've been trained in this to not get up and walk so you can get treated faster. That's not cool. Don't do that. Any questions? So again, if someone's not breathing, if they have a pulse, we open their airway. If they make attempts to breathe, we tag them red. If they don't breathe, tag them deceased. Any questions? We do it in that order: respirations, perfusion, mental stats. Any questions? It's going to go real fast if you guys don't have any questions. All right. When you enter the scene, PSI, scene safe. You want to make sure it's safe for you to enter. If it's not, you secure the scene first. The first thing we ask is anyone who can walk to walk and make a designated area. Make sure you tag each one of them green and write down pull the triage tag number. Each triage tag should have a little pull tab. Pulls us green and what their triage tag number is. Any questions? Yes.
So what would happen if you ask them to get up and walk and then walk, but you see like one of them has like an amputated arm? Or like,
Can they walk?
aspirations? Yeah,
They're green.
you still want, you just move on to the next people?
Yep. Triage, you have to triage everyone first, because they're maybe, if they're well enough to get up and walk, they are a lower priority than the person that's unresponsive or has respiratory over 30 that's going to die much quicker than they are. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? First thing we check, respirations. Respiratory rates over 30, you tag them red, and you move on to the next patient. If they're not breathing, we open their airway. If they attempt to breathe, we tag them red and move on. If they're breathing under 30, then we move on to pulse. But first, we're gonna watch a video.
Respiration is the first assessment because it is the most critical function. If the patient is not breathing because of an obstructed airway, attempt to clear the airway. Depending on the type of obstruction, either reposition the patient's head or remove any debris that may be lodged in the throat. While repositioning an injured patient's head may be contrary to what you've learned about cervical stabilization, Dr. Greg Super explains how to handle a patient who's unconscious and not breathing.
If we do nothing, he's a certain field death. If we open his airway, we may aggravate an existing cervical spine fracture. We chose to make that intervention. If we open his airway, he makes attempts to breathe, and we can keep that airway open, he may have a chance to survive. If we leave the airway closed, he has no chance.
If respiration cannot be reestablished with these simple measures, don't waste time attempting CPR.
The first rescuer's basic instinct might be to begin CPR on the first one he encounters. That would be a mistake. These people die. If the first rescuer goes to CPR on the first victim he finds in full arrest, he will not be available to help those who still have a chance at living.
Non-breathing patients are considered non-salvageable and are categorized deceased. Move to the next patient.
Okay, need help over here? You want support? Okay.
Okay, just like this, need to help keep his airway open, like that, okay? Great, don't let the airway close.
If the patient begins breathing after the airway has been cleared, categorize immediate and move to the next patient. To assess respiration on a patient who is breathing, observe the frequency of respirations. Patients who are breathing at a rate of more than 30 respirations per minute are categorized immediate and no further assessment is done. Move on to the next patient. Although you won't take time to actually count respirations, you can become skilled in visual assessment by watching others simulate rapid breathing. With practice, you'll be able to easily differentiate between a person who is breathing faster than 30 respirations per minute and one who is breathing at a normal rate. If a patient is breathing slower than 30 respirations per minute, proceed to the next assessment, perfusion. Here's how the respiration assessment looks on the START flowchart. If the patient is not breathing, reposition the airway. If breathing does not resume, the patient is non-salvageable and is categorized deceased. If breathing resumes after you clear the airway, categorize the patient immediate. Patients who are breathing at a rate of more than 30 respirations per minute are categorized immediate and no further assessment is done. If the patient's respiration is slower than 30 respirations per minute, proceed to the second assessment, perfusion.
Anybody have any questions about respirations? So I was wrong when I said pulse. It's perfusion, not pulse. Any questions? All right, let's move on to perfusion. If you can feel a radial pulse, then you immediately move on to mental status. If you can't feel a radial pulse, you tag them red and move on to the next patient. Any questions? If you're not confident on a radial pulse, you can use capillary refill. If it's under 2 seconds, you move on to mentation. If it's over 2 seconds, you tag them red and move on to the next patient. Any questions? Questions?
In a multi-casualty setting, the capillary refill test is the fastest and most effective way to check perfusion or circulation. To do this, press down on the patient's nail bed and release the pressure. The skin underneath the nail should return to normal color within 2 seconds if perfusion is adequate. If it takes longer than 2 seconds, categorize immediate and move to the next patient. The radial pulse can also indicate perfusion status. If you cannot feel a pulse, the systolic blood pressure has probably fallen below duty. The patient's legs should be elevated to improve blood flow
Don't
to the
elevate
heart,
the legs.
lungs, and brain. And
That's
the
from
patient categorized
1984.
immediate.
Put as much pressure you can there, needs to stop her bleeding, okay?
In situations where a patient has severe external bleeding, direct the patient or a bystander to apply pressure to the wound. If the patient has adequate perfusion, proceed to the third assessment to check mental status. On the START flowchart, the perfusion assessment looks like this. Check capillary refill by pressing down on the patient's nail bed. If color does not return within 2 seconds, categorize the patient immediate. Elevate the legs and control bleeding if necessary. If the patient has adequate perfusion, the nail bed capillaries will refill within 2 seconds and will proceed to the third and final assessment.
Mental status. Any questions on perfusion? Ah. Mental status. So if they're unconscious, you can just tag them red. But if they are conscious, can they follow simple commands? If they can, you tag them yellow and move on. If they can't, you tag them red. Move on. Questions?
What's your name?
Brain injury accounts for half of the deaths in disasters. Patients with altered mental status are categorized immediate. You may have already observed a patient's mental status during the first 2 assessments. If the patient is unable to respond to simple questions or commands, categorize immediate.
My leg, over here, my leg.
Okay,
I think it's
okay,
broken.
just relax, okay, you're breathing fine.
Get me out of here. Please, my leg really hurts. It
Okay,
really
you got a
hurts.
good pulse, got a good strong pulse. What's your name?
Jan,
Okay, Jan, what day is it?
Friday.
Friday, good,
Please,
okay.
it hurts. Oh, God.
We're farther coming, okay? We'll get you out of here as soon as
Oh,
possible.
it hurts.
All right, I've got help coming.
If the patient can follow simple commands, categorize delayed and move to the next patient. Here's the mental status assessment on a START flowchart. If the patient fails to respond to simple questions or commands, categorize immediate. If the patient can follow commands, categorize delayed and move to the next patient. The delayed category does not mean the patient is not injured and does not need treatment. It means the patient isn't at high risk of early death.
Questions? You're now all experts at START triage. I wouldn't say experts. So the incident command system, so where does it fit? So they call this a bottom-up ICS. So if you're pulling at the ICS system for a fire, let's say you're the first to engine on a wildland fire, what are you gonna do? You're gonna set up a command post, right? Then you're gonna start building out your ICS system. It's the natural or the reasonable operating procedure. Well, to start triage, you actually do the opposite. If you're the first in on scene, the highest medical authority is going to take a medical unit leader, and they're going to assign EMTs to start triage. Because it doesn't matter if you have a command center, because you can't order resources till you know how many and of what type patients you have. It's not like a fire that you can just see and you can evaluate. You've actually got to go through and get a total count and a triage amount of patients. Does that make sense? So that's why I call it upside down ICS. Then as well as the second, third, fourth wave of resources come in, then you start building out your ICS points from there. Yes, sir.
So if I'm like a EMT firefighter and I show up to an MCI, I'm on an engine and there's a active fire, but there's also a triage area. Do I go to the triage area and disregard my duties as a firefighter, or do I stick with my
Is the
engine?
scene safe?
Probably not. So
Are you the captain or do you have a captain on your engine?
know what difference that would make. So
It would make a difference because if you're a firefighter, you're gonna follow the direction of your captain.
okay,
They're gonna make that choice for you.
there would be no duty to act.
No, well,
as an
well,
EMT
first of all,
firefighter
if the scene's not safe, you need to put the fire out, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna take priority over the patients, because the patient's gonna burn to death anyway. And so are you.
Well,
If the scene is safe and the captain determines that there are critically injured patients and he can spare you as an EMT, and you're the EMT, he's probably gonna send you over there.
Okay, so it'd be up to the decision of the captain.
I gotta be honest with you, I used to hate being the only EMT on the engine, because that's what I'd always get stuck.
Being,
Yeah,
instead of fighting the fire.
yes. But yeah, that's not gonna fall on you. So you gotta follow the direction of your captain and use the ICS system.
Okay.
Any questions? All right. So again, so your first wave, your medical unit leader that's going to do the paperwork, contact the destination coordinator. So the destination coordinator used to be back in the 80s, a guy that called around or a gal that called around to all the hospitals to find out who had availability. They don't do that anymore. Your destination coordinator now is what's called a control facility. And there's two in this region. One's in Reading and one's in Chico. And so anything in this area you call Reading. And what they do is they've got software and they activate that software and it blast pages every trauma center, every ambulance and every air ambulance in the region and asks them for a count of availability, how many surgeons they have, how many beds they have, how many ICU beds, and how many of each type and category of patient they can handle. So then once you get your triage done and you get your treatment areas built, and then you have your patients packaged and ready for transport, then they're able to tell you which hospitals to send those patients to, so you evenly distribute them to the hospitals to save the most lives possible. That's what your destination coordinator is now. But your first, like I said, your first two people, if you're just like a 2-0 staffed engine crew or you're an ambulance crew, and you're the first one there, one of you is going to be the medical unit leader, the other one's going to be the triage officer, and they're going to go out and triage all the patients. Then as your second, third, and fourth waves come in, you're going to start building out your staging coordinator and your transport coordinator. And then you're going to start building out your operations, and then your logistics as those other waves come in.
Who do you call first? Like you and your partner just get a random call and it's not related to what's going on at all. You show up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a multi-casualty incident. Who do you call first?
Who do you call? Well, first of all, you make sure someone takes incident command.
Yes.
So you get an incident commander, and then you're going to call the control facility, the
How do you
designated.
get an incident commander?
Huh?
How do you get an incident commander? You
Well,
just,
somebody's got to be the incident commander.
like one.
So if you're the first on scene, you're going to be the incident commander.
Okay.
And then hopefully, but at some point, a battalion chief or an engine or somebody with a captain's going to show up, and then they're going to take that, you're going to turn that over to them. And then take on probably the position of medical unit.
Okay.
And yes, that happens all the time. Where you get calls of, well, we just have one on Thursday. Or it's a TC off the road and there's no details. Then the first engine gets there and it's like, oh, I've got a couple of patients. And then it's 3 patients, then it's 5 patients, and it ends up being 6 patients. And so it builds out from there.
Okay.
Any other questions? But that's why it's important that you have your ICS 100 and 200, because if you're the first on scene, you are going to be the incident commander. And the same thing, and things you got to think of as the incident commander is if you pull up and you got a school bus roll over and you can see right in front of you, you've got at least 20 or 30 screaming children, you should probably order 10 ambulances and 5 helicopters right off the top. And then whoever you turn it over to, they can deal with the logistics of that. But at least you've got the resources started to come. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions? All right. So yeah, there's nothing worse than if you, everybody sets up and takes ICS posts, but no one goes out and triage and treats patients. That's not good. I say the fire system does not work on mass casualty incidents. You have to go upside down. Any questions on upside down ICS? So again, the mid-management is not necessary until you start getting into your 4th or 5th wave of resources coming in. That's when you can start having staging managers, transport managers, logistics, and all that stuff. And like I said, and then some MCIs, it never even gets to that. I'll give the examples of Las Vegas and Aurora, Colorado. I don't think they ever got to that point. Any questions? And sometimes you do. I was on the largest MCI in Siskiyou County history. We had 500 patients.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and 2 EMTs. I was one of 2 EMTs. Huh? It was 1991 Cantera Loop chemical spill. So yeah, so it had a cloud of hydrogen sulfide gas went down the Sacramento River and through the city of Dunsmuir and Castella. We ended up with 500 patients coughing and burning eyes, and so we set up a triage center at the high school. And we just brought everyone to the high school because there's no way the 24-bed hospital was going to handle that. So that's how we did it. Now, of those 50 patients, 49 were green and 1 was yellow. But or not 500, 499 were green and 1 was yellow. But we went through 500 reports and triage tags.
2 EMT, 2 minutes.
2 EMTs. I wasn't a medic yet. Any question? I mean, we eventually got more.
Yeah.
But at first,
You have 500 patients.
we had 500 patients, and it was myself, and I'd worked all night at Roseburg. Yeah, so I hadn't even been to bed yet. And then the high school principal was the other EMT that was on the fire department. So we were the only 2. Yeah.
So were you just getting calls of people with those signs?
Yeah, and so what we ended up doing was dispatch told anyone that was because the 911s were just rolling off the hook.
Yeah.
They're just telling people go to Dunsmuir High School was the designated triage. There was our primary collection point, which that term didn't exist then, but that's basically what it turned into being.
Yeah.
And so we got everyone up there, and then we were able to triage, started ordering resources to treat and stuff like that. Because there's no point in trying to send them to the hospital because then you're just moving the disaster to the hospital. We did a lot of decontamination, a lot of eye flushes, and went through a lot of oxygen. Any questions? So this is a really good slide here. So the reason why you do upside down ICS is, one, before you can send anyone to a hospital, you have to have an ambulance available, and you need a destination from the destination coordinator. Before you can get a destination, you know how many of what category patients are loaded in the ambulance. Before you can identify the category of the patients, they have to be triage tagged and put into a treatment area to get to an ambulance. And before they can be tagged, they have to be triaged. You have to triage first. It has to be the first thing done. The first assignment is triage officer. Questions? And it's critically important that you start triage. This is now the nationwide accepted standard of triage. And it took almost 30 years to get everybody to agree on it. Finally. Any questions? So building out your treatment areas. Most counties like Siskiyou County, we have what's called an MCI trailer. If you can get it to scene, it's pretty cool. It's got a giant red tarp in it. Throw that giant red tarp out, you put all your category red patients on it. Nobody, even the simplest of simple, can miss that that's the red triage area. Then they got a big yellow tarp you throw out. That's where you put all your yellow patients. Then they got a big green tarp they throw out. Guess what you put there? Yeah. And actually, well, thank you for bringing that up. The deceased patients, if at all possible, do not move. Because almost always guaranteed there's going to be a crime investigation if someone died. And the CSI folks will very much appreciate if you disturb those bodies as little as possible. Any questions? So yeah, you got to order equipment. All ordering goes through the incident commander though. So if you're the triage officer or whatever thing if you see a need for equipment, you need to go to the medical unit leader, have the medical unit leader request the resources to the incident commander. That way you're not ending up with multiple resources and over ordering or under ordering. Does that make sense? That's why the ICS system is incredibly important. Now, the other thing you also have to understand, in the history of the world, there's never been a mass casualty incident that has gone well. There's always multiple disasters within the disaster. And just because you triage somebody and you thought you triaged them right, things change. We had a bus wreck, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago down at Pollard Flat where nobody spoke English. And a guy with a red tag walks past me and gets into an ambulance. So I yelled at the triage leader, who actually was my roommate in the fire station. We went through the academy together. I said, "What are you doing?" I go, "That's a walk." He goes, "He wasn't walking. He doesn't speak English. He didn't follow simple commands he's read." How do you argue with that? Then he decided to get up, walk over, and crawl into an ambulance. Yeah, but it's part of the scene. I mean, yes.
Can you at all change their triage status after you assign them the tag?
No, you can't. You can't go back up.
You just gotta.
Because when you rip it off, you
wait,
can't go backwards.
You can't be like, okay, wait, you stay here.
Yeah, give him a new tag.
Yeah.
Retag that dude.
You're
No.
not.
Doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Can't retag him. Any questions? Yeah, and it's a Polar Flat. There's no internet, so
Yeah.
you can't use Google Translate. I was the medical unit leader. I had to run up to I-5 to get a signal, call for destinations, and run back down to the command post. It was good. At least I was in a little better shape then. I don't know if I can do that today. So same thing, transport. One of the things you don't want to do is the Sonny Bono syndrome, is what we call it. So what you want to do is, if you're, depending on where the area is, set up a transportation staging area. And one for flight and one for ground. And you want to bring the ambulances in one at a time. The last thing you want to do is jam up the scene and the access and egress with multiple ambulances. And the reason why they call it Sonny Bono syndrome is back in the 90s, might have even been the late 80s. It was 90s, the Girl Scouts. Well, Sonny Bono got killed in the 90s, but when he was mayor of Palm Springs, he was the IC of the legendary Girl Scout crash. So they had a school bus full of Girl Scouts rolled off of a mountain highway. Ugly stuff, ugly incident. And the good side of it is that Palm Springs is blessed with literally more tax dollars than they know what to do with. So they had resources there now. So they had like 28 ambulances there in like 30 minutes. But what they did was they pulled all the ambulances straight up this mountain highway and blocked each other in. So when the first patient, the first category Rev was ready to go, they had to run her all the way down to the 28th ambulance and load her and then try to do a 50-point turn on this highway and go out. And then the next one had to go down to the 27th. Don't do that. So you can, at all possible, have a designated staging area, stage, bring them in one at a time. You may even dedicate one ambulance just to ferry patients to the landing zones, wherever your air staging area is, if you have enough resources. You may not have that many resources. Some places like around here, you'll probably, this county's got anywhere from 7 to 10 ambulances a day. Just in this county, it's going to be an hour to get something from other areas. And the other areas generally in MCIs don't have anything available to send us. Medford and Reading are at constant what's called status zero state. In other words, every ambulance is already in service and on a call. A call's pending. So they don't have anything to send us mutually. So generally, that's all you're going to get here. LA City, 20 years ago, the LA Marathon, they had the heat wave. And they ended up with like 400 heat exhaustion patients. What they do is they've got 1,200 paramedics, firefighters on their department. They send a blast page out to everyone's cell phone. They staffed 120 ambulances in 1 hour on top of the ambulances they already had, all their reserve ambulances. So it just depends on what kind of resources you have. Any questions? All right. Make sure you do your paperwork. I can tell you from experience, if you're a medical unit leader or a triage director, do your paperwork.
What is the, like, I guess, what I call it, like a better word, for start triage, if you have a patient, take it from triage, you just say, all right, I'm seeing accepted category grad patient, arrived at hospital.
You mean for your patient care report?
Yeah. Because,
So your patient care report, that's gonna be different. So your patient care report is gonna be on the transport ambulance that gets brought in to transport them. The
okay,
people doing triage
so,
probably aren't gonna be writing
Don't
any
worry about
reports
it.
because they're gonna be doing,
yeah, like if you're first on.
but they're gonna have separate, they're gonna have, usually every EMS agency has a list of ICS forms you have to fill out for a major incident. So like here, it's an 837C form that tracks all of the patients, so the medical unit leader has to fill out that form. So it'll show the triage tag number, the category they're in, the complaint, what the control facility gave for a destination, what transport unit transported them and the time they transported them. Then they gotta have that. And then what they do is when they're hot washing at the end, the regional EMS authority will then take all the destination hospitals, because they have to do that also. It says control facility, and all three of those sheets have to match up. So they make sure they didn't miss any patients. Because that's the other problem, is patients get lost in the shuffle. Like the bus wreck at Pollard Flat, we lost 3.
Oh.
They disappeared. We triaged them and nobody knows where they went.
Ever?
Huh?
Ever?
We have no idea. They escaped. Nobody spoke English, so there was an excellent chance that they were undocumented immigrants that probably didn't want to go to the hospital
Yeah.
and just kind of slowly walked away from the chaos. That's what we assume. But yes, there were 3 patients. There was 52 patients. It was a charter bus.
Yeah.
And it went where the big curve is. So you go, if you're going northbound, you go through Pollard Flats, kind of a dip.
Mhm.
Then it makes a sweeping left. The driver was asleep and never made the sleeping left and went straight off into the canyon.
Just watch it out.
But yeah, 3 of the initial triages, we had 3 triage tags for category greens.
At least they were green.
They were green. Well, if they weren't green, they wouldn't have disappeared.
Yeah. Getting it out of there.
So anyway, yeah, so the patient care report will go with the transport unit that transports them from the scene
Okay.
to the destination
So
given.
if you're staying.
You don't have to do a PCR for every patient you triage.
I didn't think so, but if.
You
you're
just gotta
staying-
collect the tag.
If you're staying on triage site, taking care of patients and.
Now, if you're on the triage site taking care of patients, everything you do, every vital sign you do, every treatment you do, you're gonna write it on the triage tag.
Oh,
And then
okay.
that goes with the patient.
Okay, that makes sense. And then at the end, once everything's kind of said and done, you have like another separate report that you have to write.
Usually your medical unit leader or whoever's in charge will have to do that. But you've got to keep all the documentation. Like I said, the tags is the biggest thing. You'll break off the tab on the tag.
Okay.
And that's got to get to the
But
medical unit.
aside from keeping specific patient information on the tag, there's nothing else you have to keep in mind while you're treating multiple patients.
Nope.
Okay, good to know.
I'm telling you, it's the easiest job in the world once you learn it. This is only as hard as you make it. Any questions about the patient destination coordinator? Always keep things moving. There should never be a time that you don't have something to do on an MCI. You got to get everybody triaged. You got to build treatment areas. You got to get transportation areas. You got to get staging areas. You have to still follow ICS. So if you're on an engine, ask your captain, Cap, what do I do next? Give me an assignment. I'm available for an assignment. Don't ever sit and wait to be assigned. Go request an assignment from whoever's in charge. Any questions? So you can go through week-long courses on this. We can expand way more on this. But we're just doing the basics here. So there's the entire flow chart. Know it, learn it, live it. Any questions? No questions. So that's what a triage tag looks like. So it's immediate, you tear the yellow and the green off, throw it away. And then it should have a tab on the modern ones that'll break off. It's a red that has the serial number for the tag. That's what you bring back to your medical unit. Any questions? Then if you're in the treatment area, you fill out all the stuff on that card. Yes.
So say every patient's designated, you're starting care on your reds. Are you sticking with that singular patient until you can transfer care to an ambulance?
So you're talking about if you've been assigned to a treatment area. So
Yeah,
you'll be assigned to it.
okay.
So basically someone will assign you, hey, I need you as an EMT to work the red treatment area.
Okay,
And you'll have a red treatment area leader, hopefully. Say,
Right.
we build this out as the waves come in.
for sure.
So hopefully you'll have red, if you're the first one there, you'll probably be the red treatment leader.
Yeah.
And then hopefully they'll get more EMTs there to help you.
Right.
But yes, and then once you're in the red treatment area, that's gonna be your assignment.
And you will stay, are you like taking care of like multiple patients at once, or are you just focusing on one specific patient?
Now,
until
you
you
take care of
get
multiple
that-
patients at once and getting them packaged and ready for transport.
Okay. so-
And as soon as they're ready for transport, they're packaged, you have to let the medical unit leader know so they can get to hold the destination coordinator to get a destination and then get a transport in there to get them moved.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you for asking questions, so. All right, now here's something we hope you'll really like.
These are not very good.
Volume down? That's a pretty good video. Oh no, she's distracted. There's a barbecue in front of her.
Agent 55 and your full pedestrian divided here, level boulevard and Academy.
Don't drive through the door.
Venture 55 is on scene, single vehicle rollover into a crowd.
Venture copies engine 55 on scene, single vehicle rollover into a crowd.
All right, guys, let's go start triage, get back to what you need. Venture engine 55 was assigned up. We have approximately 10 victims, one trap. Upgrade this to a heavy rescue response and have one engine, one ambulance, and one EMS supervisor. This is a level 1 MCI.
Venture copy engine 55 on scene, reporting approximately 10 victims with one patient trapped. Copy on upgrading this to a heavy rescue, copy additional resources, copy level 1 MCI. This will be the bloody incident. Medic engine 61, truck 54, squad 50, medic 504, medic 497, medic 693, EMS 44, EMS 51.
We have lots of resources there.
Bloody incident, level 1 MCI, Bloody Boulevard and Academy Drive, command 5.
Do me a favor, I'm gonna put this around your hand, okay?
Guys, we got an MCI going, we got approximately 10 patients, so I'd like to assign you med comp, and I'll have your partner assist my crew with triage.
This round your arm, okay? Hold pressure on that bullet, okay?
Thank you.
You know, we've got a level one MCI going about 10 patients right now, no specific information yet. I've assigned MedCom and the other medic I've assigned is just my crew with triage. That way you take on triage leader responsibility. With that, I like more active, you know, for victims and their categories and oversee the movement of all those patients into the treatment area. Here are your folders, go to work, and I'll back you up with the group soup as soon as I can. Okay? Okay. See you all, okay? I mean, we find out in a minute, okay?
CMC base, 1135 going.
ABCMC base, this is medic 491 with a level 1 MCI. Have you copy?
1134, you want to go ahead.
Okay, we are currently at the intersection of Durley and Post with approximately 12 victims that are in the process of being triaged.
Copy all that 491. And I'll start calling for bed availability. Please call us back when triage is complete. CMC clear for now, 11.
Okay, so you have,
Yeah, 3 minor, 1 delayed.
that's two videos. You meters. 1 delayed, one delayed, one deceased. I do, got some more information for you. I have a total of 2 immediates, 2 delayed, 3 minors, and we have 1 deceased. 2 immediate, 2 delayed, 3 minors, 1 DOA for a total of 8 patients. Correct. You know, I could use, I could probably use another imaging company, especially for the immediates. I'll get you 1 more angel, go ahead and go back to work, and okay. All right, copy that.
Ventura, Levy IC, triage is complete. We have 2 immediates, 2 delays, 3 minors, 1 DOA for a total patient count of 8, and MedCom is established. Big count. I'm assigning you as the treatment unit leader. Your vest and clipboard are on the hood of my vehicle. Need you to identify and establish the treatment area and get.
See how he's built it out as the other waves come in?
Hi, Mark. I'd like you to take on patient transportation unit leader. We have 2 immediate, 2 delayed, 3 minor, 1 DOA. So we have 7 to transport. We have a total of 4 ambulances either on scene or en route. Let me know what additional resources you need. MedCom's in place with 491, and I have a vest and clipboard up front for you.
CMC base, go ahead.
ABCMC base, this is medic 491 is MedCom. This is with a follow-up call on our MCI and Henry get back up.
All right, copy you want to go ahead, 491.
Medic engine 2, I'm assigning you to the treatment unit. Report to Captain 61. He is the treatment unit leader.
You're going to be ambulance coordinator, and I need you to identify an ambulance staging area.
Hi, guys. I want you to work at ALS in the treatment unit. Report to Captain 61. He is the treatment unit leader.
So they're building out the system as they go.
Go ahead and move into the station.
Guys, ready? Guys, ready? 1, 2, 3.
There are these things that we see, John. And talk with you about those that are you've been fantastic. Go ahead and get in the action. Yeah.
Ventura, Levy IC.
All patients transported, incident complete, all equipment released.
And an eagle flies over because COS. It's checking it out for us. So I got this video. Pretty good video. I mean, it's a drill. Oh, they're not done. Hold on, sorry.
One ambulance and one EMS supervisor. This is a level 1 MCI.
Bedford copy engine 55 on scene reporting.
Go to work and I'll back you up with the group as soon as I can. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. It's your own here, okay? You bottom up to later, okay?
ABCMC basis is medic 491 with a level 1 MCI. Had a copy.
I guess what do you have? Yeah, three. Hi, Mark. I like you. You're going to be ambulance coordinator, and I need you to identify an ambulance staging area. Anything you see, John?
Girl, 11 IC, all patients transported, it's been complete, all equipment released.
Alright. Any questions? It's a pretty good breakdown of exactly how it should go under perfect circumstances in a perfect world.
I have one.
Yeah,
When, at the last part, when they were doing the triaging with the patients, they had the patient with the respirations greater than 30, no pulse, and unable to follow simple commands. They red tagged, but when they were putting the red tag on it, it popped up like controlled bleeding. Like, would we apply a tourniquet at least?
no,
No.
if you got someone there, like a category green that control bleeding, then you should do that.
Okay,
You don't stop and treat at all. No, that's a real great video of showing step by step how things should work and how to build out an upside down ICS system.
When disaster strikes, the responsibility of ensuring safe and rapid mitigation of the incident falls upon one person, incident commander. The incident commander must be able to think quickly, logically, and practically while addressing multiple issues at the same time. As the complexity of incident increases, the proper delegation of duties is essential to ensuring that the incident progresses efficiently. When addressing a call, such as a structure fire, auto accident, or gas leak, there are usually enough resources on the scene to treat any potential patients encountered. The incident becomes a mass casualty. The number of patients overwhelm on-scene resources or exceeds 10 patients. When an MCI is declared, the incident commander's responsibilities significantly increase. An MCI is not a standalone event. Hazardous environments may be encountered, which will require the incident commander to simultaneously mitigate the hazards while overseeing the EMS branch.
Engine 623, engine 403, engine 421, engine 434, reverse engine 433, truck 403, channel 4, Delta Box 43801 for building fire at 14400 Woodmere Court at the Forest Senior Residence, smoke showing from the roof, $1,400.
Battalion 1 from Engine 623. I'm on the scene of a 3-story assisted living facility. I have visualized all 4 sides and have fire showing from side Alpha on floor number 2. The building is currently being evacuated. Start me at grid level 1. We have our own water and will be stretching 1 3/4 through the main entrance on side Alpha.
Just answer your question on if you have a fire with multiple patients.
From battalion 443, I'm direct on your traffic. 3-story assisted living facility with fire showing from the 2nd floor on side Alpha. You have your own water and are stretching 1 3/4 through to the front door on side Alpha. Break. Fairfax from battalion 443, I'm on the scene establishing assisted living command, have 4 drop off to out my buggy on side Alpha.
Command from medic 420. I'm on site Bravo. I have residents exiting the building. I fear to have them.
Did you hear that? What type of structure this is? Assisted living, so this is gonna be all geriatric patients. Do they get out of burning buildings quickly?
no,
Oh,
Air burn and smoke and pollution. I have approximately 20 patients.
Medic 420, I'm direct on your traffic. Approximately 20 patients with burns and smoking for it. Break. Fairfax from command, dispatch to the MCI alarm 20 miles an hour.
Fairfax direct, your MCI alarm will be on 4 Foxtrot, 1508.
The incident commander has recognized there is a large number of injured patients exiting the structure. Must now balance managing both the structure fire they were dispatched for, as well as the MCI they have now encountered. Due to the number of resources required to manage a large number of patients, quick recognition of a mass casualty incident, requesting an MCI alarm as opposed to requesting individual units will optimize the management of the incident.
Battalion 307, I have you establishing the suppression branch on 4 Delta. Battalion 1101 will be taking over the EMS branch on 4 Foxtrot once you arrive on scene. Dispatch from 15 with command. I'm ready for a command channel, and the operations channel will remain on 4 Delta.
Assisted living command from Fairfax, your command channel will be on 4 Echo, the MCI alarm will respond on 4 Foxtrot, and the suppression branch will stay on 4 Delta, 1412.
The incident commander is faced with an evolving fire scene and multiple patients. He has decided the best way to implement organizational structure, maintain span of control, is to establish suppression EMS branches. Fire is now being controlled by the suppression branch. Now, let's take a closer look at how the EMS branch and incident commander interact during a complex incident.
Medic 420 from command, begin triaging the patients, and once the first engine from the MCI alarm arrives on scene, they'll help establish the triage unit. Fairfax from Assisted Living Command dispatch one additional transport unit on 4 Delta.
The incident commander has chosen to use a resource from the initial building fire to begin MCI operations and will need to replace that unit in the suppression branch. Until the battalion chief from the MCI alarm arrives, the incident commander is responsible for managing the EMS branch of the incident since he has delegated all suppression operations to the 2nd Battalion chief by creating a suppression branch. The EMS branch director command board is a valuable tool incident commanders should use to identify the priorities and unit assignments for any incident involving multiple patients.
Command to all units responding on the MCI alarm, suppression units, stage on Walker Street and report directly to the EMS branch director. Transport units proceed directly to the scene and prepare to receive transports.
With the exception of the transport units, resources dispatched on the MCI alarm do not need their apparatus. The apparatus should be staged in an area away from the incident that does not block access for transport units or any additional suppression units needed for the initial fire. Part of the overall success of the incident is dependent upon early identification of staging for incoming suppression units and establishing a transportation corridor.
RJ, I've got you as the EMS branch director. And I got all the units listed on the response coming to you. I've directed all of them to respond to you on 4 Foxtrot. Medic Force 420 is going to be in the process of doing triage. Haven't gotten a final count yet, but right now it's approximately 20 patients. We'll have to continue monitoring that, and transport units have been told to go directly to the transportation group once that's established.
Okay, Chief, do we have enough resources or are we gonna need additional MCI on?
I think at this time we have enough, but we'll continue going.
Okay.
When patients exceed the number of available transport units, commanders have the option of requesting an additional MCI alarm, EMS task force, or single resources. The initial MCI alarm is designed to manage approximately 25 patients. Second and subsequent MCI alarms can be requested to manage 25 patients each. An EMS task force manages incidents with 10 patients or less. Like other NOVA manuals, MCI manual uses pre-assigned roles and responsibilities to ensure MCI operations such as triage, transport, and treatment are set up and executed as quickly as possible. We recognize each incident is unique and dynamic. Incident priorities may require the incident commander to assign MCI operations to units initially dispatched on the fire, as we saw with Medic 420. Units arrived on scene of a building fire, encountered active fire and multiple patients, with both aspects of the incident needing to be managed simultaneously. The IC chose to create an EMS and a suppression branch based on the initial count of 20 patients. An MCI alarm was dispatched on a separate channel, compartmentalizing the branches for better communications and overall management of the scene. The incident commander used the EMS branch director command board as a reference for critical tasks. He should designate an apparatus staging area and ensure access and egress for the transport units. With Battalion 1101 assuming EMS branch director, the incident commander can return focus to overall incident management.
All right, any questions?
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Does it have to be? It doesn't have to be. Okay, hold on. So I was thinking out loud.
Doesn't have to be what?
Number of patients to actually make it a mass casualty.
It'll depend on your local protocols.
Okay.
So you want to see our local protocols? Use that as an example. But it's wherever you're working what the protocols are.
Okay.
So for here, you're going to use the G1. So they consider a level 1 here, 5 to 14 patients.
Okay.
And then a level 2, 15 to 49. And then a level 3 is 50 and above. And then they also have surge alerts where it may not be equivalent to a level 1 MCI, But when they have at least 3 ambulances dispatched, they want a surge alert so that they can start deciding destinations, because most hospitals are overwhelmed getting 3 ambulances at the same time. Any questions? No questions about MCI. Questions about start triage? All right, why don't you guys take a break, come back at 7:45. And ready for the next phase.